Yeah, 3-2-1. I'm usually used to seeing the 3-2-1.
I think there was a 3-2-1. I'm just
I might have looked
trying
away.
to see if we are confirmed to be live. And we are live on Facebook. And we are live on YouTube. Okay, so hello and good night, or good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, September 10th. It is season 22 of Big Brother USA. And tonight we had the live eviction episode with Bailey and Devon, and we see Bailey go out in a 9-0 vote. We're here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting covering this season. I'm Dave Mater, joined with my brother Jeff Mater and co-host Jaemeel Robinson. Jeff, Jaemeel, how are you guys doing?
Just juggling.
I gotta say, I'm excited with this episode. I think this was the best episode of the season. Easily the most entertaining. I was tickled pink, as Donnie would say, in terms of how just the fights, the big fight tonight with Bailey and Devon and Christmas, perfection. That's what I live for, the Big Brother game. I just want to see these people completely collapse. Christmas has tanked her game, I think, largely just in this blow up, and just I don't think she came across like. Depending, I don't know who. It doesn't really matter which side you were on in terms of this argument. That's kind of irrelevant. The whole the whole thing is that Christmas is trying to defend that that's Big Brother, but she's also missing a fundamental point of Big Brother, which is not like looking like you're a liability as an ally, and she totally did. So
you're absolutely right, and I don't bemoan Christmas for what she did in terms of her game move, as I mentioned in the previous episode. But this was just sloppy. Like, to have that argument in public like that is a bad game move. Because basically you just told all your allies, hey, don't tell anything that to me that's important, because I'm going to turn around and use it as ammunition to get you out. That's basically what the gist of the conversation was, right? And, like, you can do that. You just shouldn't really get caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I think that Bailey didn't play well, and Devon, if she can salvage this, we'll see. But it doesn't really matter. Like, I was just amazed by the spectacle of it all.
Jeff?
And Jeff, you said nothing yet.
You haven't swung it over to me yet, so I'm just waiting for you guys to get.
I'm just waiting for you to like.
It's like, I'm not going to talk.
Usually pop in by now. You go.
I'm not going to instigate.
Yeah, don't provoke me. Because I'm provoked.
You're provoked.
Okay. For me, like Christmas. If she wanted to take out Bailey and Devon, she didn't have to use the whole "you guys are a duo" excuse, and she could have just said, "Hey, you're both strong players, and I'm not really aligned with you." She didn't have to use that, but she did. And then once she did, I think she felt like she was backed into a corner because Devon got super offended. You heard her tonight where she said, like, I'm up here by no fault of my own, is what she said. Like, it was Bailey's mistake for telling Christmas that they were together, which was obvious. Everybody knew they were together. So you could have just said, like, it's pretty obvious, guys, that you two seem like you're together. She didn't have to say, oh, well, Bailey told me this, and that's what made this an easy do, because she did that. It made everything very, very sloppy. And then they got drunk one night, and then there was a big blow up fight, so it got even worse.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I saw.
Mary here saying she didn't like how they didn't show how the house guests felt, and we're all talking about it.
Yeah, it was just silent reactions from everybody. Danny, Kevin.
Kevin didn't have a silent reaction. Kevin had a visible, like,
right. But I mean, like, verbal. Like, he's not in the
cringiness. He was the epitome of the cringiness.
Yes, and so, like, they're all just watching it, going, like, we have no idea what they're thinking, other than that they're like, other than that Ian wants a towel. We don't really know how people are feeling about this situation.
Like,
Tyler, I think Tyler was the the best as far as the house guest.
He was presented as the best.
Yeah, he was presented as the best as far as calming things down a little bit. But like, I don't know. Do you guys agree with the argument like that Devon was saying that like the whole argument was what Christmas did personal or was it game or was it personal game? What you know where do you guys stand on that?
Here's my understanding. Devon very poorly was trying to inform Christmas that Bailey is angry at the situation. She's angry that what she said was used against her, and she's frustrated at the moment. That's why she doesn't want to hug. She just wants to be on her own. Devon trying to explain it to Christmas repeatedly when Christmas was not getting that was a fight in futility, and kind of bemoaning that point agitated Christmas because she felt that by trying to constantly explain it to her how Bailey's feeling, there was an expectation that Christmas was to apologize or Christmas was to take ownership of the situation. Christmas is already the owner of it. There's no need to, you know, it was me, right? Like, she's the HOH and she is the veto holder. There's no conspiracy there. Right? She's also taking the brunt of the whole Tyler situation. All Tyler needed to do to smooth things over was to just give them a heads up that this was happening, right? But they didn't, and feelings are hurt because they thought that they were in a better position, and then they got the rug pulled out of them once again, right? Yeah. Yes. Bailey thought that she, Christmas, and Day were in
the slick six.
Were not even just a slick six. They thought they were close in the slick six, right? But once again, stuff like this happens, right? And Bailey's got to take her lumps, which she was kind of doing on her own, right? Day didn't really need to constantly keep bringing that up, and Christmas should have been like, she'll have to deal with it. Right? And the fact that the three of them didn't is what escalated the situation.
I think also the fact that I think they feel like Christmas is a kind of a fake game player. Like, I think they were showing you all that evidence going back throughout the house, like where she's just like always kind of like been on their side. But when the chips came for her to play her hand, she was like, oh no, I'm not going to be on your side, you know, and they felt betrayed. And that's why I think they couldn't handle it. They were like, this is bullshit, you know, and which is kind of like Bailey kind of said it too, like, oh, it's a good game move, it's fine, and like we're pissed about it, but whatever, it's a game move, you know, but it's dirty. Like, I think that's what it came down to. That's how they felt. They felt like Christmas did them dirty, and I think they wanted to let her know, and I think the whole audience wanted them to let her know too, because Christmas is annoying. You know, like, she really is. She's an annoying game player. This is how she plays. She just thinks like, you know, well, no, you're not in my alliance, but then but you made an alliance with them, so you deserved this blowback. You know, so that's kind of how I felt about it.
Well, I think you just have these three incredibly eccentric and bizarre personalities in Devon, Bailey, and Christmas all colliding here in this episode, and the drama and the sort of the anger and the angst from that, and the non-communication, I suppose, like not hearing. I think that Devon was doing
bizarre, but
I thought Devon not so much, but okay, like it was like the fight in the bathroom tonight.
I didn't think this fight in particular, I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was, you know, personalities got heated and they were shouting at each other. It's not like they were going to take a swing at each other.
No,
it's just
no, I'm not
yelling.
saying that. I never meant to imply that's not what I need for it to be good. I just I like, it's, you know,
you need headbutts like Willie Hands. It's like
shades of no, I don't want Willie Hands. Like shades of Amanda Zuckerman. More like, you know, just shouting at each other from the house, you know, and people just sort of like losing it. Like I think Big Brother is a little bit of a pressure cooker. You know, not to challenge the pressure cooker, or, you know, more of just like the psychological effect of it. And I sort of that
Yeah.
there is it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a little bit of a big challenge, and you see these people getting
You see
into
it
it, but
affecting Tyler.
It's not
Like-
just the game though that's the pressure cooker. It's the fact that they know everybody's watching them 24/7, that they know there's opinions going on about them in real time. And you saw it tonight, like Devon was losing her mind because she was like, if I respond to Christmas or if I start yelling back at her, then I'm going to be the one that's painted wrong. And like David was also right. Like he was like saying like, it's not fair. And it's probably true. Like, you know what? That's probably true. Christmas to me was the one that came across looking worse here. But if Devon had really gone at her, which I think she really wanted to, I think Devon, everybody, like the majority opinions would have been Devon, came across as
That would have been the headline.
it would have been the headline. And I think Devon didn't
Right,
want to
wrong,
be the
and
headline.
indifferent.
Devon was sure she was going home and she'd lost her cool. But the thing is, like, I think people wanted, like, fans like me, or I'm sure a lot of other people wanted to see that a little bit tonight with this big alliance that Christmas is kind of the epitome of. Her and Cody and Nicole Franzel are like the epitome of the giant alliance. Somebody like Kaser did it a little bit on his way out last week, but somebody had to do something just to blow this friggin' house up because it's annoying to watch.
See, here's what the ultimate problem is that and this has affected the season in general. We're in an age, okay, we're in an age where social media just wraps up everyone's game completely. So people are playing scared. People are playing very conservatively because they don't want to get any blood on their hands, and not even blood in the house, but blood on social media. Because if Christmas was crying not because she loves Devon and Bailey, that she put them up, but she understands the optics of putting up two black women at the same time when black women have not really been too successful in Big Brother, especially getting to the end, right? Yeah. She understands the optics of it. She understands that that's kind of the situation she's in. The die is cast, and she's sad that she's going to have to work through it. Devon and Bailey, they have the pressures of being black women in the house. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, I can't wait for the Devon blow up. We've all heard it, right?
Sure.
People saying that it's going to happen, right? And they're aware of it, right? It's not like they're in a bubble before where it's like, I don't care, only the house exists. All of their minds are playing the game halfway with one foot in the house and one foot on social media. They're like, is this move gonna mess with me? Right? And look, Kazar, Bailey, and Devon, they've already talked about how this game is bigger for them in that respect. Right? So there's added pressure of doing it for their themselves, for their household in terms of the earnings, and possibly as representatives of their race and culture. It's a lot of pressure. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
And you don't want to screw up, and you want to come across being liked by the end of the season, which makes it nauseating for the fan because
you just want people to play. You just want people to play free.
That's right. And I think ever since about Big Brother 15, ever since that season happened with the big fights and the big blow-ups that happened in that season, Big Brother has been on this path where everybody plays nice no matter what. Everybody is concerned about their social media image. Since like 16 was the first season that really started it. And it's just like it's not the same anymore. Like it's still a good TV show sometimes. There's good episodes here and there, but it's not quite what it was the first 15 years of this show. I mean, because I think players played with a little bit more freedom. They still knew people were watching them. They still knew there were still live feeds and stuff like this. But a lot of that would go out the window. A lot of people would forget, how people would be perceiving them a little bit in the house. That's why we had those Willie Hance moments, and that's why we had the Dan's funeral, and we had Dr. Will, and we had Boogie, and we had all these players.
Evil Dick, he didn't care about pots and pans, and Josh seemed a little bit too much of a spectacle. Dick just did it because the person pissed him off, and he wanted to mess with their heads.
Yeah,
right. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He didn't throw a cigarette. Was it Janelle did not push what's his name aside to win HOH for people to say that old school is boring. The old meme that's
Right.
coming around. Dave, your thoughts?
Sorry, I had to
Sorry,
fix something.
I'm sorry. Totally did that to you. I apologize.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't quite sure where I was coming back in on the conversation. So where were you guys on?
We were talking about like how the new ever since about Big Brother 15, which was your first season, Dave, when all those fights happened, and it was a lot about race, and it was a lot about immaturity, and everybody on that season smoked cigarettes. Now, now we have like everybody since 16 and on. I think we've had Big Brother, everybody in the house kind of worry about their social media image, kind of play nice, try to always be well liked by the end of the season, no matter what. Not less blow ups, less fights, less drama, and more just like, okay, it's your turn to go home now, and hugs and kisses, goodbye, which nobody really wants to watch. And I was just saying, like, I think social media may have destroyed this game in a lot of ways, especially in All-Star season.
Yeah. The age of social media, its effect on society, and I think that's true. That everyone has more of a conscious. Like, I think you were going to be on TV always on this show, and live feeds were always going to be a thing. But I think people knew the legacy it would necessarily have on your life, because stuff like that, didn't really necessarily stick with you forever. If you were forgotten if you were on the show, like, or you never really knew, I guess, too. It was kind of a new age, and as society has evolved in terms of like worrying about those things, and rightfully so, like, people are literally watching you all day long, and all they have to do is type about it on the internet. You're in that house, so you're going to the bathroom now. You're in the shower now. This is how much you eat now. They're scrutinizing every little thing about you.
Yes.
And every conversation, and you have to be always aware of that. You can't let your guard down anymore.
Like, just as something as simple of, if Christmas was not eating clean, right, as a fitness person, there would be a thread dedicated to Christmas is a hypocrite, telling people how to be fit when she's eating dirty in the house, right? Something as simple as that. Like, they're going to paint you in a box, and then they're going to use all this footage to prove their point, whether it is true. Like, we have the right as individuals to change, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course. Certainly, yeah.
But but what happens is people will paint you in a specific like way, and then say, this is the real you. You're a terrible person.
Sure,
right?
Sure. And who you are on TV is definitely not who you really are. I would imagine. So
sorry, I'm looking at Mary's message.
Mary's comment says, well, that is funny that you were all saying this.
Because we're commenting about stuff. Everything, you know what? I try to be nice about everyone except David, because he's an idiot. And I'll stand by it.
I think he'd be a nice guy. I think you would get along and have a nice conversation with him.
Yeah,
in real
probably
life.
would. And I would probably tell him, like, dude, bro, what was going on? And he's like, you be on a show. And then I'd be on a show, and he's like, I thought I was bad. And I go, that's why I'm 13th place.
Right. Yeah. And
he's in the jury. David has made the jury.
David has made the jury, so he's already better than me.
I think he's going to make it further than that.
Imagine if David wins this game.
I'm pulling for him. I think he's the sleeper.
That's a good way of putting it. His game. Who knows? Like, when it's interesting watching, like, even past seasons and kind of seeing who won. Like, you watch, like, Ian's journey. Like, no one was pegging Ian to win Big Brother 14.
No, there was
into the jury portion of it. He was like, Boogie was like berating him, right? He was messing up. He was that awkward dude in the Quack Pack. When you have like Frank and other dudes like Dan and
Brittany was a huge fan favorite that season.
Who?
Brittany.
Brittany, Courtney, Courtney's boyfriend,
Danielle.
Danielle and Danielle's boyfriend, who I can never. Shane.
Shay. Was it Shane or Shane?
Shane. It was Shane.
But I think she really wanted to be with Dan.
Don't
I don't know. Don't what?
be on Big Brother.
Oh, don't be on Big Brother. Well, Big Brother Canada, you could handle, Jaemeel. Don't worry. Big Brother America is a whole different thing. Big Brother Canada is kind of in the lane where Big Brother seasons 1 through 10, maybe 1 through 15 where nobody really cared about Big Brother. Now, Big Brother is like, TMZ, a huge story. So like I don't know, Big Brother's like profile is like way bigger than it used to be, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that?
In terms of just like,
just don't about David winning. That's what you said.
Okay. You know what? Big Brother is a series where it's gonna be weird how it goes, right? Look, I agree with you. I don't believe he's gonna win at all. But if he does, that's just gonna be weird. And you know what?
It would be the greatest thing ever. I'd be all for it.
Weird isn't necessarily a bad thing when it is so predictable and it seems like everyone is just being a lemming, falling off of a bridge. So as of right now, weird seems better than predictable. Right? Now, if something comes up where there's drama in the sense of like gameplay and there's like another side of the house and there's battling and there's people I can root for, like I would a million times prefer that than David winning, right? David seems to me that as like if he had like a proper edit, like a Survivor edit, there'd be wacky music every time he talks. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. It's like that wacky David, right?
Yeah, like I think. Sorry, what was the original question, Jeff?
Business ethics.
Business ethics.
Oh, okay. In that case.
No, I think it was like, do you think that Big Brother, the profile of the show is way bigger than it used to be? I feel like Big Brother was a silly, and it still is, a silly show that, literally nobody paid attention to. People were like, why is this on before my very, 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 very important football game that's about to come on? Because I got to see the Eagles play the Cowboys. Now it seems like Big Brother is more important than the football game in a lot of ways of like what's going on socially and, politically and everything like that. What do you think about that?
I think that Big Brother, I think that it has much bigger female fan base, largely, and I think that
which is an important demographic.
It's an important demographic, and that's exactly why I think it has grown, and I think it's a big TV viewing portion.
The ratings aren't good live, but in terms of like DVR ratings and stuff, it does fairly well. It's still in the 6. No.
You could be on Big Brother Canada. Mary wants to know.
I've auditioned a couple of times. I don't necessarily think that they want this, but that's okay. It happened.
They should.
They should.
I will give you a reference if needed.
Until I'm actually on, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this I can't. All credibility is just gone. But you know what? It isn't even a matter of in terms of ratings that's important. It's in interactions and social commentary and social conversations. There's a lot of people that don't watch Big Brother, but they watch like clips online. They follow like correspondence. Hopefully they're following Mary, right? Yeah. Taryn. Like there have been seasons where I've never watched a single episode and I just follow along with what Rob Cesternino has provided in terms of content, and I've watched via that method, right? Listened via that method. So there's other ways to follow along without necessarily watching the show.
Yeah, and she's saying she can't wait for spoilers. Okay, we'll get to spoilers. But just in terms of, I think the TMZ angle, Jeff, that you brought up earlier, I think that the whole thing about that is that since Big Brother 15 in particular, it's a great place for the tabloids to just get gossip. It gives them clicks and headlines and things that they can use.
Yeah, for sure.
And they take advantage of this format quite a bit, and they exploit these contestants for everything they can.
That's right.
And it's they're not. No one's making them do it. They're choosing. These are the actions and the words they're choosing to use, and their consequences are just or largely.
Sometimes they're twisting things to fit a
Or
narrative.
sometimes it's a little heavy-handed of a response, but it is what it is.
I think like you're right. Like a lot of it's clickbait, and they use Big Brother for clickbait.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. And because Survivor doesn't have this, because Survivor, you just don't have all the skeletons that come with it. All the dirt, that sort of the baggage.
Well, and when Survivor happens, like remember the guy that was super creepy that was like touching the girls, like
Dan.
Dan.
Yeah,
Like that came and went. Like that was like on Survivor, like they dealt with it, and it was like during that season, and it was like, but now like nobody cares about that. That's not like like
I think that was kind of like a big moment in sort of TV history. It was all I think it was happening during a whole bunch of other things, and it was terrible what kind of happened, but it was also kind of
I think
meaningful.
I think it made them look at a lot of things in terms of their practices, because Jeff Probst, host and executive producer Survivor.
Maybe.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He
runs the show.
has had a very tight ship in terms of what to him is a survivor or survivor champion. And when someone like that is in charge of the narrative, you have individuals who don't necessarily get their shine as they deserve. And people have complained about the edit that they've received because they're not that type of player. Right? Survivor tells a very similar story every year. Right? You can kind of see who are like the lead characters and who are secondary characters, who are comedic characters, and they fall on the wayside. So I think that narrative is changing, and we might have individuals who previously did not get their shine actually be presented in a different way. So not necessarily condoning the tragedy that occurred, the instance that occurred, but I think it made a lot of people look as to how them as an organization is presenting information and being a little bit more responsible in how they do so in the future.
I agree. My only point with between Big Brother and Survivor is that like it happened like a little bit during the season and a little bit to that lead up, but that week is when people talked about it, and now it's over. Whereas Big Brother, it's like if that Dan was still in the house or was still in the game, or they kicked him out of the house, it would have been like this huge story for clickbait. Whereas I don't feel like with Survivor it gets that.
Yeah, and Mary's just have a comment here that some people don't watch the feeds and they assume what they see on the show is the entire story, and that was me before, and like largely like if you're not, I've been in and out on the feeds. I was kind of caught up today listening to Taryn, and I don't think it's wrong to watch the feeds. I think that this is a good thing. Like if you're a student of like anthropology, sociology, which I have been in the past at least, this is really interesting to kind of see how people interact and what this is an experiment. And that's why it's kind of awesome that we kind of get to see this play out. And I think that it has the potential to do good in terms of like teaching us how not to treat each other, how to sort of learn from each other. And we see that there's these moments on the show. Like I remember there was a couple moments earlier, in the season with Kesar and Devon, they were talking about all kinds of different social issues and things. And those are the moments, I guess, in reality TV in general, you have the sort of those human connection moments you're able to portray, which is good. But at the same time, it's also kind of cringy and hard to deal with. And it's ugly. It's kind of more the ugly part of humanity sometimes that we don't want to face. But it's, maybe if anything, it makes us better. Hopes it forces us to try to be better.
Like for me with the feeds, the The feeds are Big Brother in its truest form. And the always hope is that the show presents the feeds as best as they possibly could. And I think they've had varying success, especially this season where there hasn't really been that much to take from. But um, I think that in the past, largely, CBS has done a disservice in not presenting all of the information. Going back to 15, if they were presenting people as they were, you wouldn't have had to wait until Aaron was voted out to quote all of those things that she said, because those things were there in living color to be presented.
Yeah.
Right. And they were crafting a narrative until public opinion swayed them to drag her and others through the mud for their actions. Now, was it justified that they did that? But if they presented them in the first place, right, it would have been above board. Because what happens if they ended up being the heroes of the season? You would have all that baggage there that wouldn't be presented to the individuals.
That's well, I don't agree exactly it's the same, but that's basically what happened last season with Mickey.
With Snackson?
With Snackson. You know?
Yeah.
He was the hero of the season from the show's point of view because he won, but nobody, like, he's the only Big Brother winner I've ever seen walk out the door and get booed. Like, not because of game, because like the crowd literally did not like him.
It was a mixed reaction. It wasn't a full boo. It was a mix.
It was like a 70-30 boo.
Yeah, it was I'd say 70 cheer, 30 boo.
No.
But at that point, who was to win? Beth?
Holly or Vicky?
No, Beth. We call her Beth.
Had won.
We call her Beth.
Crazy Sam had won, like the psycho. Like, I mean,
yeah, it was like, it wasn't a great cast, and there was, well, okay, like if you like him for anything, you got David out in season 1 for his first season, like, and maybe that was the best thing for that season.
He knew.
He's like, this dude, I got to get rid of him.
Yeah,
he reads people way too well.
He's gonna win so smart.
He's an all-star.
He is all-star. You're gonna see this guy win all-stars one day.
Like Dan, Dr. Will, David.
Maybe that's the example though of somebody like taking somebody out. And the show last year was portraying David as this great guy that was reading the house so well, but maybe that was all bullshit. Maybe they were feeding him that stuff to make him seem that way on the show, and it was actually not true. And I remember thinking, I was like, how does he know this much about the house already? He's been there 3 days. How does he know this much?
He had a golden ticket like the kid in Last Action Hero.
That's what
He's
I think.
Seen it live on TV.
I'm thinking maybe production helped David out with his persona, so when he left the house, people were rooting for him to come back, and because they knew they were doing the buyback, and that, I don't know, like that's kind of what I see as far as like, that's why everyone's like, at least David, he seems like he's pretty good. He went 4th in our draft, Dave. Jane.
Okay, I was going to bring that up because I wanted to talk about our draft. The 3 of us plus 5 others, including my wife Jane,
my living shame,
are in this. And so just to cross Bailey off the list tonight, the fifth person evicted on day 37, and she went last in our draft. No one, like Jen, who had the first pick with Kesar, is now completely out of this competition. And David went 4th overall by my wife Jane, and he's looking pretty good. Yeah, he's a jury member.
Still got both my players.
I still got both of mine.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about Cody yet, which I do want to talk about all of that. But yeah, he went 2nd overall by Jeff, and it's looking pretty good. And
his pop
Davon, I don't know. Davon, I think might go deeper now. I think that we'll see what happens. We'll see what the fallout.
I think she's going next week, unless she wins HOH.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just want to, just in terms of who has who. So Jen is out. Amanda is completely out. As Julie mentioned, these people are not coming back. There is no buyback. There is no fight back. and Nicole Anthony was mine, and she's also gone. But everybody else, except Jen and Amanda, and I'm hanging on by a thread. But Jeff's got Cody and Nicole Franzel. Jane's got David and Danielle. I only have Davon left. Kevin and Jaemeel belong to Enzo. Sorry, no.
He's like,
what is it?
I owe Jaemeel, yo.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Jaemeel has
Jaemeel
Kevin. I was dyslexic on my reading there. Jaemeel has Kevin and Enzo. Sean has Ian and Tyler, and Daryl has Memphis and Christmas.
Daryl has the two least likable players.
Yeah, but
Tyler and Nicole?
No, Memphis and Christmas. Daryl
Memphis and
has,
Christmas.
the two players I think that are probably the biggest villains of the season, other than Nicole Franzel.
who's just up right up there.
Guys.
Right. So I just wanted to
At the end of the HOH there or whatever, when they were cutting away, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna fall!" It's like, you've won this competition before. Like, stop it. Like, wait, what are you doing? Like, come on. Like,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Just before we get to spoilers, I wanted to just there's a whole sequence tonight which we haven't talked about, which was the Cody Calafiore grandfather, pop of his pop. Passing away. Also, the Calafiore patriarch, presumably, and so that's very sad for all of them and his brother Paulie, and all the Calafiores. I remember in 16, Derek, it was Derek and Frankie's grandfathers both died while they were in the house, like within like a few days of each other. I think Frankie's was first, and then it was Derek.
Sure.
And now in this season it's Cody's. So which Cody was part of that season as well, and so was Franzel. So it's
so what you're saying is Nicole Franzel's grandfather might die very soon.
Don't say that.
Did anybody's grandfather die when she was on
on
18?
What?
Did anybody's grandfather die on 18?
I don't think. Maybe I don't remember.
If it is, it could be a. Okay, I don't want to even go there, but it's very sad, and I don't know, like I don't even know what you do in that situation, or obviously they don't. He keeps playing, but and that's what Derek and Frankie chose to do in their season when they happened with them. But
yeah, no, it sucks. It's terrible. I mean, I could only imagine somebody close to you dying and you being stuck in a house surrounded by cameras where everybody's watching every single thing that you do all the time. That's gonna suck. I mean, I would rather. I don't know. Be hard not to want to leave. That's for sure.
I doubt there would be any way that he would be allowed to.
Yeah.
Well, and Tyler's been trying to leave apparently all week, right?
Yeah.
They didn't show this all in any of the episodes this week. At all, quite that he was depressed and he was down and he was out of it, but not that how actively hard he was trying to get out of the house. None of that was shown, and so I feel like his image, coming out of this week is much better than maybe it should be, because I just think he's sort of, well, I don't know. It depends how you want to interpret it. Like if you want to interpret him as a quitter or just somebody who's just out of it, but he was holding on to that wall tonight, so we're going to talk about that pretty soon, and maybe we'll find out who this new HOH is before. Wait before Sunday. Is there anything else on this episode that was significant? I was like I mentioned, all the heat coming in with Davon and Christmas. I think it's all worth talking about at the very least. It makes the season sort of more memorable. And obviously it's tragic with the Calafiore grandfather dying, and also with just maybe the stagnant play that we've had, and maybe hoping for a little bit of a shake-up in this house.
I feel like if Tyler leaves, nobody's gonna have somebody to hug them. Tyler's hugging everybody in this, and he's calming everybody down. So I think Tyler needs to stay in the house for all their mental health.
You must suffer for us to all be able to survive.
All right. Well, we're going to go to spoilers. And
what are you gonna put? What emojis are you gonna put? Fire, ice.
Is it icy or fire? I don't know if it's good or bad, so I'm going to go with the default icy. Okay. And this is the spoiler warning. And we are now into spoiler mode, and everybody is anxiously wondering if this HOH competition is over yet. Mary, is the HOH competition over yet? We'll get the get. Oh, Daryl's watching here, and he just wants to let us know both of his picks suck in Christmas in Memphis, and he is not endorsing them. So thank you, Daryl, for
The commish.
the commission himself.
See, I'm repping my colors, man. Repping my colors.
Yeah, he's wearing that. He's got that Calgary Flames going there. Okay, so Mary's saying, no, people were really crazy about this Christmas fight. The spoiler on the Facebook has been GE.
No, because it got cut off. Let's go. Scroll. Has been GE. Oh, it did. We know there was more to this fight. Alcohol involved, people drinking, a lot of tempers flaring. You know what? I didn't really pursue that much information about this fight because honestly, it felt a little bit too emotional for me personally. Sure, I could probably look at the aftermath later on, but like, I wasn't really looking for that in terms of Big Brother. To me, I just kind of want to boil it down to, I'm kind of perfectly fine in terms of what I saw, but I could understand people wanting more, wanting the whole situation. I'm probably gonna just like listen to people talk about it.
We got an update here.
Okay, go ahead.
Davon is out of this competition. It will not be Davon as HOH this week. Mary is damning it. She is not impressed, and nor am I. Davon is my. But are we surprised?
No.
We would have been much more.
She's in a much better place than she was previously. So
yes, I agree.
So her being out isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Because Nicole is trying to pick her up. Franzel is the best thing.
And Enzo.
Yeah. But she's got two sides vying for her to be a number for them down the stretch. And so if Davon can work that properly, with now she's got the baggage of Bailey being gone and not having to worry about being a duo, she's sort of a good number for someone to scoop up if she will play ball with them. And Christmas, I think, will just be like they'll keep her around for like till final 8 or something, but they'll drop her.
Christmas is like she has a lot of damage control she needs to do.
David is out of the competition. It will not be the HOH.
I'm sorry. David. Oh, you thought you were gonna win.
No,
the final 3 is gonna be the final 4 for this competition is gonna be Nicole, Ian, Kevin, and Tyler. I think
Cody will be there.
He was bred for this.
He was bred for this, and he's got motivation. His grandfather died, so
he'll do it for his grandfather.
Yeah. Do it for Pop, so he can get
for
another.
Pop, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they might throw it to him too.
Yeah, that could happen.
If it comes down to the stretch, and it's like, if Cody can last until at least the final 5, he's got a great shot of just being thrown it.
Yeah. Because if it's like Cody, Enzo's gonna drop probably. So Enzo's not looking to win.
He won't look to take it from Cody.
Yeah. So
if it's between him and Cody.
If it's Cody, Nicole, if Danny's up there, Danny will try to keep on it.
Franzel doesn't want to be HOH, I don't think.
Ian does want to though.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this TMZ article here, or
yeah, I think we also we didn't. This wasn't on the episode tonight, and I don't know if it will be on Sunday, so that's why we didn't bring it up earlier. But
if Ian's HOH, it will be.
If Ian wins HOH, it has to be. Yeah, I would imagine.
Or on the block.
Ian apparently was very sick. Also, we haven't really talked about that. Like we mentioned, he didn't play in the veto because he was feeling under the weather. Apparently, it was a lot more severe than that. I understand. At least that's what is sort of the word on social media and such. And I don't really know why they would downplay it so much on the show if that's the case, but apparently that's what's occurred. If anyone can corroborate this.
I don't have any more information about that.
Right. But also, yes, about his autism. And there has been a story that's broken out in the last day or so that has to do with, I believe it's Memphis, Danny, Nicole Franzel, and who is and Christmas,
Christmas,
right?
of course.
Right. They were kind of like, they're basically talking in a room, laughing about Ian, that he's creepy and he's the red rum guy from
Red
um,
rum
from
from
The
The Shining.
Shining, and like kind of like, but also like we've seen him a couple times in the last few episodes that he's been sort of rocking in the hammock a lot of times to like when he has conversations, and that's sort of something he does to sort of like get himself calm and whatever. I don't fully understand it, or nor am I qualified to, but I just know it's something that it's a personal thing, related to having autism, um, and. Uh, and so they were just kind of like really tearing into him, laughing and sort of being kind of jerks and mean about it, really. And so this has sort of hit social media in the last day or so, and it's not good for any of them. Like none of them, but and it's always sort of like these things hit, and then 2 months later they get out of the house, and then they say, well, 2 months ago everyone was so mad at you, but by then other things have happened, and so it's I don't know how to always process that. That's kind of like the most cruel part of watching Big Brother is sort of, but again, they are the jerks. They do not deserve sympathy in this situation, but I do feel for Ian, because I think it's what the real result of this is that just that when they know that Ian is sort of maybe on the list next. Nicole Frenzel might be going along with it. She might just not want to seem like a super ally to Ian or something, and so she's just laughing along. Like, that's to give her the benefit of the doubt. But
yeah, like I don't know, maybe it seems like Danny and Nicole can kind of be like mean girls a little bit sometimes. I don't think they might maybe mean anything by it, but they kind of get like that, where they get on this, laughing about people or whatever, and so that doesn't surprise me. The one with the Memphis with the red rum thing is kind of more messed up, in my opinion. Like you're basically insinuating that Ian's like a murderer or like a crazy person. Like, is that what they're insinuating?
No, the kid was like in The Shining, just how he was acting. Yeah.
Is he saying that Ian has telepathy? Like, does he have the Shining?
The shitting.
The Shinning. Does he have the Shinning?
No, it's just very bad. It's a bad look on all of them, and
and so and whatever in terms of like those people, because I'm not like necessarily attached to Danny, certainly not Christmas or
Memphis.
Or Memphis either, right? But Nicole Franzel also, she's lost like a deal with Oil of Olay. Is that right? Her skincare endorsement. And they've sort of like publicly put out a press release denouncing her for what's hit now with these videos and these comments and her sort of role in it. And that's it. Like, I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? You've been quiet.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like it's like I said, I just think I don't know, like if they like were trying to be mean. I have to watch it. I have to see what like the context, like where they just kind of like laughing about the fact that he when he swings it annoys them, or where they kind of just having fun with it, or are they actually being mean about it. I would have to. It seems like they were being mean about it because, like Mary's saying, Nicole lost her precious and contract with Olay. I mean,
most of her sponsorship.
That's her social media influencer revenue.
How is she going to be able to afford that extravagant wedding in Keiko's, Turks and Caicos?
Even fewer people will be invited now than before.
Or she has to up the cost per plate for people to show up.
Daryl's saying that Memphis has dropped out of the competition.
Well, that's not a bummer. I mean,
So look,
but Mary is saying I haven't seen that, so I don't know. There could be some disagreement here.
Here's the fact of the matter: is people should know, especially all stars, that what you say is going to be held against you. in your personal life, right? And we've already seen people lose jobs already, Gina Marie. Nick! But
Nick!
they're like, if CBS does decide to air it, right? CBS has to will understand that it isn't just going to be they kind of have to paint these people in negative light going forward, right? So I think if it becomes an ongoing thing, they'll present it for sure. If not, I think they're just going to bypass it completely, or make one of them like the scapegoat, like Aaron was.
Yeah, well, I don't think that they'll necessarily want to portray for being negative, and they can do a lot of things with diary room confessionals to sort of give certain people more of a positive role and other people more of a negative role. Like
Nicole,
can
how did you feel about what they were saying about Ian? Do you feel that it was wrong to make fun of him? And she's like,
God, no!
when they were saying I was just playing along, and
I didn't really want to
mean it.
laugh, and then you throw that in, and she's like, now she's America's
She's
princess.
a plausible deniability.
Mary's hot. We got a big update here. Cody, Nicole, Kevin, Tyler, Danny, and Enzo.
Enzo's not winning.
Still in.
That's too much Enzo to keep up on that wall. That's a big man.
Yeah, he's a big, tall guy. It's good. He'll have the
But
hard
he has
time.
the agility of a cat. Meow meow.
But who's the most ideal option of any of those people to win?
I think Danny could win it. Ideal, I think Kevin would be the most fun.
Oh, Ian's gone then.
Yeah, Ian's gone. Yeah. I kind of want Kevin to win it.
I think that there's no good option there.
Or Tyler. Tyler won't put up Devon.
True. Okay, then Tyler. Then I'm going for Tyler.
Kevin and David.
Enzo has dropped.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, that's a lot of man to keep up on that wall.
And Memphis has dropped, and we're going to from Daryl here. The Memphis has dropped after Ian. As Ian, we have not have not. So Memphis didn't want to be a have not. At least that's what the comments are saying.
Oh, that's not a surprise.
And Mary is rooting for a Kevin win.
Kevin win. Okay.
Okay, I just hope if he makes something out of it, like pick a side and try to start.
He has to play conservative though, because with all the powers that are in the game.
I guess, yeah, but we're into jury mode now. This is the time you need to start getting something going in terms of an alliance, or are you just going to play more like this is week one again?
No,
he's at least paired with David, so if anything happens, he basically has two opportunities to take someone off the block.
Oh, at least he's paired with David. He's got nothing to worry about.
Well, in terms of he has David's power.
Right. David's power, and he's got him as a vote.
What? Okay, so what is Christmas's power?
I have to look it up. Hold on.
I know Danny's power.
Goodwill
powder, but I don't know Christmas's power.
Christmas is the blocker. She's the
what's that?
Christmas blocker.
What does that allow?
She can block herself or someone else from being nominated post veto.
So it allows you to not be backdoored.
Yes, you can block a backdoor.
So she's going to protect Tyler.
So if you say I'm going to backdoor Tyler, and then they go, nope, I blocked it. Now you have to backdoor someone else.
And David's power is the pre-door.
Yeah.
He's got one's a front door, one's a back door, one's in the middle.
No,
he's a disruptor. Yeah, so he has the power to secretly save a nominee and force the HOA to put up a replacement. He doesn't even have to name himself.
So will the HOH have already picked someone and then?
The HOH that's post noms, but pre veto. He has
if Kevin wins this week, he wouldn't use it.
And Danny has a power too. Everyone's kind of forgetting about that. Danny has the replay, which she has the power to allow any outgoing HOH to play in the next one. So she didn't use it here with Christmas tonight.
I'm surprised she did. Be honest, unless she thought she could win this one, and win, which she might. She's in the final 5 or 6 people on the wall, right? Yeah, right. I agree. I think that's what
Danny wins. She can use that power, that replay.
And let's face it, guys. I mean, this competition is best if you weigh 100 pounds, and both Nicole and Danny probably weighed just over 100 pounds, right?
So are we all Team Danny? Is that what we're saying?
I'm just saying that's who's probably going to win. I'd be surprised. It's a lot harder to keep all those muscles up. Like if you're Tyler's pretty lean actually, so Tyler has a good chance.
As of late, yes. Although you know what, I'm being convinced. Go Team Kevin.
But Kevin's pretty lean too. Kevin's pretty lean as well. Enzo was never going to win this. I was surprised. I mean, Meow Meow just didn't want to be a have-not. I think. Davon, what's Davon? Like, dude, how is Davon this bad at everything? Every single competition, she's bad at. It doesn't matter.
There hasn't been like an HOH competition there where you have to be the best at best acting coach or anything of that. I don't know. Like Davon's talents are more socially based, and competitions don't seem to largely translate.
She basically won a HOH, and she slipped on a banana peel at the finish line. So.
And I think we didn't talk about that, guys, tonight, but I think that was the biggest crux of why there was all the big fighting was because Davon. So she said it in the episode where like Chris was walking around like she was like this, big tough HOH, and she literally lost it, slipped on the banana peel, and Chris was past the Mario Kart.
Even the veto. I stand by it. She did not win that veto. Nicole gave it to her.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think Ian would have had a good chance to win it for sure as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then Kevin wants something like this.
True. The hanging
one. He's won a competition this year, so who knows? Yeah, I'm also looking, okay, who's left in this game, right? Who do I like is actually get down to the stretch? I don't want Cody. I am anti-Cody because I would have been okay with Cody if it was not for Frenzel, who I'm definitely against. So because he's so closely aligned with her, I don't want to cheer for him. So who's against Nicole and Danny down the stretch potentially? Or sorry, Nicole and Cody. I think that's Danny, who she might end up with. Like
she's kind of against Tyler.
She's more against Tyler, right? So she is kind of aligned with Frenzel and Cody. I don't know. It's hard to like. There's too many things overlapping here. So who's Tyler? Tyler and Enzo were a thing. With Christmas,
isn't it Tyler and Cody? Not Tyler and Cody, Enzo and Cody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's hard to follow, but I was listening to a lot of these live feed updates tonight.
So
and
because Nicole.
Okay, but we also have a big update here, and it's not a good one. Oh no, Kevin dropped.
Oh no.
It's okay, Tyler. I think Tyler wins it. It's an interesting week.
Kevin can wait for his
I don't want. I think Nicole winning the HOH is the worst case scenario, which is probably what's going to happen, guys.
I heard on the live feed update that she doesn't even want to be HOH, so I don't even
hanging on.
Who's trying to probably protect?
Who's left? Cody.
Cody, Tyler, Nicole. Is that it?
So who's she afraid will win? Because Frenzel would only hold on because she's afraid.
No, if it's Tyler.
Is it Tyler who's still in?
Maybe Tyler.
Tyler or Christmas.
Because they know Tyler won't want to take out Devon. And okay, if Cody or Nicole win, who's going on the block?
Kevin and David.
No,
actually, sorry. They would probably try to backdoor Tyler maybe. Or Christmas.
But so who goes on the block? Just two pawns like Kevin and.
Really? They're going to keep going up to the pawns.
They're afraid to make the move. Christmas. Nobody wants to strike first.
I think somebody's going to have to strike first. It's going to have to happen at some point.
I think if Tyler wins, he might strike first.
But Cody and Nicole won't? You don't think they're ruthless players?
I think Danny is going to push for it.
Yeah, Danny's another one that would probably.
But I think Frenzel will not want to strike against Tyler first.
Correct.
Only in a double, she'll go after Tyler. Frenzel's not confrontational, so she won't want to take a shot at Tyler and miss.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's Janelle, and then she'll doesn't have no problem.
Yeah, but she felt like she had enough people on her side that she
she did.
Yeah, that it didn't. She felt okay, but now it's fewer. And it's not even going to be like, I hate Tyler. It's just going to be like, oh my God, Tyler, I went after him and he's such a good competitor. Now he might put me up and she'll just like, she can't handle it. So
Him and Ha. Show him and Ha.
show him and Ha.
Yeah.
Day will go up. If
Yeah,
Cody wins.
I mean, I think if Cody wins, yeah, the day will go up as well. I agree.
Yeah.
But if Nicole wins, I don't know if day will go up. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Because of the all-girl alliance that they're trying to put together.
That's a bunch of
How
BS.
can Cody still be up on that wall? Cody's a big guy too.
There's no way
He was bred
Davon
for this.
and
He
Christmas
covered this.
are not aligning with each other. So
Sorry?
Davon and Christmas are not aligning with each
Oh
other.
no, they've broken bread, but it's like we don't trust her. Like Day has replaced Christmas in their like final 5 plans. So, you know, she's still there. They're just gonna hold on to Christmas for now until they can.
You would think you'd want Christmas out earlier because she's proven to win competitions. You think you'd want her out?
Yeah, well, I think that they will want to get her out too. I think Reggie put Christmas and Tyler up.
Yeah,
That would be a big
that could happen.
Cody, I could see doing something like that.
I don't know. I think that's a little bit too soon.
I think he would like somebody else to do it for him, like
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah, that's true. He always wanted to make those swings in BB16, and Derek always talked him out of it.
Well, they would just get the people out because of like it was their time to go type thing. Like the only one that was really hard for them to do in 16 was Donnie. They basically, other than that, everybody else kind of blew up their own game. So they got really fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any more updates? Are we down to who is Nicole, Danny, Cody,
And Tyler?
and Tyler? How long did this go for?
I was kind of hoping it went a lot longer. I didn't expect people to be dropping that quickly. It's no pressure cooker.
All girl alliance. Yeah, I heard some rumblings about this that that Frenzel has some kind of a aspiration.
They ratted both. They ratted like the only person that hasn't ratted the all girl alliance is Danny told someone. Nicole F is the only one who hasn't ratted it out. So they keep coming back to it, even though it's been ratted out. They keep coming back to it and kind of mentioning that we should kind of work together. Nicole, I believe, also suggested that maybe we have a 5th for the All Girls Alliance, and that 5th person was going to be Cody.
He'd be the 5th girl?
The 5th person in the alliance. With obviously, Christmas being expendable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But why would they want that so that Cody can win at the end? Or they'll try to cut Cody in a competition at the end.
Well, Nicole was trying to keep Cody close. Because Cody is her
Who's
one.
going to take a shot at Frenzel? Anybody?
No.
As of right now, no.
Nobody.
David.
David wants to go after her. That's it. That's my only hope. If he
David
wins.
believes that there's a core 4 alliance, and the core 4 is Frenzel, Cody, Tyler, and Ian, I think. And he was telling people this. He told Enzo this. He told Day this. No, he told Bailey. Sorry, told Bailey. So.
I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know if we're going to get an HOH before we're ready to sign off here tonight. But while we are waiting maybe to hear the results, why don't we get just into plugging all of our shows so that we have a quick sign off. And we have to also get to our next podcast, which is going to be Star Trek Lower Decks over at Live Long and Podcast, is we're covering the 6th episode tonight. Which episode? What's the name? I don't know at the moment. It doesn't matter. But we're watching it right now. It does matter. What is it called? It is called Terminal Provocations. So we're going to be watching that over on CTV Sci-Fi Channel shortly. And then we'll be jumping on, probably around 11, hopefully, to talk about that. Our Live Long and Podcast channel, we do all kinds of Star Trek podcasts. this weekend, Saturday night, we're going to be doing Star Trek Radio Theater, as we're going to be doing Voyager's Inside Man, where I'll be playing Barclay and a holographic Barclay, and
Reginald.
Jeff's going to be 7 of 9, and there's going to be all kinds of great things going on. Jeff, you got like 4 characters to play in that.
I know. I already have my 7 of 9. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing for the rest.
You have Tom Paris, don't you? And you have one of the Ferengis, I believe.
Okay. I'll figure it out. Break out the old impressions.
Yeah, all the only impressions. So check that out. That's a lot of fun. And then on Tuesday nights, we do Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where we covering every episode of the season. We are now just early into the second season. It's not too long or too late, sorry, to get on board with this and catch up with us for sure. We are just into the second episode of the second season. Moving on
Third
to the
episode of the second season.
Third episode of the second season. Thank you, Jaemeel.
We did the Circle this week, and next week is the Siege.
The Siege.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then we're going to be, so we're just getting into the second season. And then Wednesday nights, we do original series. And of course, here on Super Mater Brothers podcasting, I'm getting all my words backwards tonight and all scrambled. We do Big Brother 3 times a week, and we also cover Survivor and Westworld and a whole bunch of other shows and Tiger King. And Mary's saying, "Hey, we're not going. They are not going anywhere. So it could be a while before we get an answer on this HOH. So I think we're not going to be able to get into it tonight, but at least we kind of know who it's narrowed down to. And I'm intrigued to see will someone take a shot on Sunday or not. So at the very least, I think that's the cliffhanger going out to it. And Tyler is out.
There you go.
So it's going to be
once
Cody
drops, you're going to see
Danny.
Nicole drop too. Once Cody drops, you're going to
Nicole's drop too?
No, once you see Cody drop, Nicole's going to slip on a banana peel, and she's going to give it to Danny.
She's afraid Cody will win? Is that why she's holding on?
No, she's just going to give it to Danielle, I believe.
To Danny. I think Danny might take a shot at Tyler. I think that she is the most interesting HOH possibility. So I'm hoping
which is why, like, once Cody's gone, she's not going to hold on to it.
Nicole's not going to want it because Nicole's not going to want to do the confrontation game.
But I don't think she's going to let Danny and Cody fight for it either. So she's going to stay up there until one of them falls, and then she's going to fall shortly after.
Right. Well, I think it's getting more interesting at the very least. So I think we should all be a little bit happy about that. And I think I covered all the shows. Trivial Debates is our other channel. Monthly episode coming at the end last Sunday in September. It will be a triple threat battle royale where we're going to be arguing about movies, TV, music, sports, and more. Me and Jeff versus Jaemeel and Chris versus Jody and Kevin, with Ashley judging. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And so we will, if that's all for tonight, we're going to have to sign off. So we'll see you in a little bit if you're into Star Trek for Star Trek Lower Decks. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care.